Chester's coming. Yes.
I'm live. Wait a second.
No. They're gonna call me Kana, and they're gonna make me shake the love.
Settings.
Camera. Like, no, I know the word that. They're gonna make me. Like Sean scandals. So horrible.
Okay.
Well, yes. What's your brother up to these days? I bet he feels that way none of the time. He's coming for a Seder. He's fine. He is? Wait, Ruth, where are you going for the Seders? Don't know. When is Kale hosting? Don't know. Okay.
I don't even know how to share. Audio. Okay. Hello. I think this is the one that's working. Hello. 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 Let me see over here. Hello. It's fine.
It's very funny. I forced myself. Started my piece on screen. Oh my gosh, good for you.
Yay! I can't. Yeah. Just a second. Broadcast info. I just need to. How do I share this? Hey. Nice to see you.
I mean, I saw you in the car.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. So remove view on YouTube.
Oh, sorry. Here we go, Chloe. Was I being dyslexic for a minute? Perhaps. No, this is real talk about best.
Okay.
My brother called because she would just say it on TV, like call us number and be like, all this, I just remember the commercials.
Okay.
She actually passed away, but she went to jail for tax fraud.
Yeah. You know, you're not a real, what are they?
Telephone psychic.
Telephone psychic.
She started it, I think.
Really? Yeah. She's a real pioneer. God bless her. Like, her marketing was relentless.
Oh, yeah. It was everywhere. My brother feels that way about me.
Okay, guys, there is cookie dough. Our cookie dough ice cream.
We're already up to dessert?
I mean, I just decided I'm going to put it all out because I didn't feel like running up and down the stairs anymore.
Tell the story for the gram.
For the gram.
Merch, link in my merch
bio.
Social media expert.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
I'm not
Okay, I guess we're staying like this.
Oh, you popped up with one? Thank you.
I'm just gonna put on my status also. Okay.
Interesting. Oh, you're out in the world? No. Remember where you were? Oh my God.
I work at a Jewish organization.
I'm just gonna put it here, if that's okay. Okay. Okay, so nobody's gonna see it. Just there's nobody in the live stream yet.
Oh, you were talking about that news article. No. No, thank you. Here, you can do
No, nothing.
there's Venmo, Cash App, whatever, that doesn't, okay, whatever you want, it's totally up to you. So interesting. So tell me about that. So thank you, wow. How's it been? Shem, I'm like, I think it's slowing down a little bit before Pesach, but you know, people are like after Pesach, whatever. Yeah, I gotta reach out to people.
That must have been like.
I just talked to my accountant. I just emailed my accountant. I'm like, so I started doing this.
Oh my gosh, happy birthday! Thank you. It was on, my English birthday was on Sunday.
Yours?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, happy birthday.
And my Libra birthday is this coming Monday.
Hello. Okay, fine.
I was talking to somebody about sugar restraining. I'm like, and I
You're such a crackhead. So you can sound like, I love you. Isn't that so nice? I built this up, but it took me some time to figure this out.
Yeah, like the tape all together.
Oh, if a Virgo approves, that means.
I approve.
I'm
You Let me see 1 second.
Yeah.
Turn it to 1, you mean? Should have got me for right now. Hey, friends, are here now.
No, sorry.
Alright, we'll be good.
Like,
My friend left.
things overheard.
Just tuning in.
For those of you not paying attention.
19 and really considered.
Which one is this?
excited.
Shows like 1,000 years.
Not yet. Or my mental health comes first. Oh, she's in New Jersey. Some physician people don't.
You see Lila?
She called me yesterday.
Wait, didn't you live in New Jersey?
We have a theoretical group that we're supposed to meet every Wednesday night, and we never do. So it's me, Elisa, and Lila, and Natalie. You know Natalie?
My what?
But now she's
Alda?
on my
I know, I was like, wait, it's your birthday again? Wait a second. I was away, so I could.
My English birthday was March 3rd,
Okay.
Now she's white.
but I celebrate my Hebrew birthday, which is
Right. Yes. Right.
Ling and rice.
Yeah.
I was
sushi.
confused for a second.
Just a quick announcement, if anybody's here for Pesach, I'm hoping to host some meals that are not Sigarim.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Please
sweet.
reach out to me.
Every meal is so important. Every meal counts.
You must eat.
I
No hungry Jews.
I love food for Pesach.
Oh.
You what?
I love Pesach.
Really?
First-
It's so simple.
It's very clean.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes.
The process to getting to the cooking is a little stressful, but it's
Yeah.
nice. It's a big rewarding. It's rewarding, definitely.
What?
going to Miami?
No, I think I'm staying here this year. Yeah.
It's where the party's at.
You're staying here?
It could be like it's on.
Wait, I've never gone Pesach here before.
I might like take. I think what I'll probably. I mean, I have to figure it out, but I'll probably like take a vacation a different time.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Shavuos?
combine vacation with Pesach.
Yeah.
As long as unless you're going to hotel, like
Right.
And me and my friends were really
because
Right.
it's so much more stressful to
I feel like I
arrange everything on Pesach.
Every year, for better or for worse, like if I'm traveling and it's Pesach, I lose weight because I'm not like you can't eat.
Yeah, like if you're
I'm
traveling
like, wait,
and
why
it's
can I do
Pesach,
this during the year?
you go to a restaurant, but on Pesach you can't.
You
Like,
can't go out. You can't do anything.
I want the cheesecake talking of losing weight.
Sleep up. I'm gonna get a nice little cheesecake.
What?
Is it the marketplace cheesecake?
Yes, everything's from marketplace.
What, the sushi too?
I can
No,
recognize
sushi's
it
nori
by
bar.
looking.
Oh, right.
It's the caramel cheesecake.
It's milk.
Hey, you're the friend who comes in from Manhattan, right? Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Ruth. Ruth? Yes. Tatiana, good to meet you. Okay, you look a little bit like, I think there was someone who was here, like, some Rosh Hashanah. No, it wasn't Rosh Hashanah. It was before that.
I'm streaming, but it's mostly for me to have it recorded. You know what I mean? Because nobody's watching. I didn't share the link
Do you
yet.
still have
So humble because I'm.
We're going for it, girls.
Of
This
course.
is it.
It was
The
muted.
Geula is here.
Took your time.
We're doing it. Okay.
Now it's good.
Can we already anything?
Oh, okay.
Oh, it started?
Hope it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
You're
good.
gonna
It's good.
mute that.
It was muted somehow.
No.
Oh, now it's unmuted.
But you guys
We're
wait.
gonna do like that so we don't hear it.
Oh no.
Okay, this is muted. Okay,
No, no, here, press like, well, whatever. It's fine.
I don't want it to.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so, first of all, thanks everyone for coming. There's still plenty of food, so please don't be shy. And if you're not full when you leave here, I'll be greatly offended. Just kidding, that's Jewish guilt. Anyway, we're gonna gloss over that one. First, I want to thank the sponsors for tonight, Adela, Anonymous, Ruth, and my friend Ruth here, and Adela, and Siri Plotkin also donated, and an anonymous sponsor, and other people gave. I think Catherine also contributed financially for tonight. So, oh, and lady who came and left. Oh, there should be a piece of paper. If you guys want to contribute, totally optional, whatever amount you want, you know. There's Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, whatever it is. Totally optional. I'm so happy to have each and every one of you here. No obligation. Yeah, so that's one. That's the first point. The second point I want to make is that this is we're in the year of Hakel, so this is I'm calling this gathering a Hakel. Also, we have some Nissan birthdays in the room. Viana has a birthday this month. What? Well, and other.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anybody else born in Nissan or has family or friends born in Nissan?
Oh, wait, I'm Rebbe.
Yeah, you are?
Right.
Awesome. Great, amazing. Great, so we have some, what? The Rebbe, happy birthday to the Rebbe. Thank you, Hannah. Of all
Natalie.
people. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so happy birthday to Tatiana and to Diana and all the Annas here. Any other Annas with the birthday in Nissan?
You guys coordinated this.
Also, this is in the schos.
And then right before.
Nazdarovia. Hi. All right. Also, this is in Refuah Shlema of Shalom ben Mindel, Gold Yehudis Bas Esther Leah, Yechiel Leib ben Sasa. Any other names for Refuah Shlema?
I have a baby name.
Oh.
Baruch. That's the name.
Oh, Baruch Shalom ben Fega.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
My grandmother, Leah Basti.
Leah Bas Sikora, Refuah Shlema. Anybody else?
Yes. Another, but I had to.
Yeah, Harab Monica Ben Sia,
Harab Monica Ben
Mira Yudit Batishanotea, and I'll be so much.
And everyone else needs Refuah Shlema, Shev Refuah Shlema. Tonight is also dedicated to Ilui Nishmas Rivka Chaim Lucia Bas Mordechai. Any other dedications anybody else wants to mention?
Oh yeah, my uncle
Oh, yeah.
Chaim Yehuda Ben. Now he's Abraham.
Chaim Yehuda ben Avraham. Sheval B'Elias and Neshama. Yeah.
Mayor Ben Leib.
Mayor ben Leib, Sheval B'Elias and Neshama. Anybody else? Any other names? Thoughts?
Israel Ben Shoshana.
Refuah Shlema. And everybody else who needs Refuah Shlema and Elias and Neshama and all good news for everyone down here, like alive. Down here. Here. Okay, so I'm gonna do basically what I do every month. You know, first I go obviously right now I just did the little Hakasa Tov dedications, and then now I'm gonna go through what's happening this month in terms of like the special dates, and then I'm gonna go through Sefer Yetzirah, which talks about like Kabbalistic insights about the different energies and the fun stuff that they know they come every month, and the fun stuff that happens this month like spiritually. And then the last part, I'm going to read like a nice little article from Chabad.org that I thought was like inspiring. So just bear with me while we go through this. Okay, so it says in the Gemara that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were all born and passed away in the month of Nisan. So that they, apparently, I guess they don't quite know the exact dates, but according to the Gemara, they were all Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were all born and passed away in the month of Nisan. So that's just a cool thing in general. The first of Nisan, which was today, last night and today. Today is actually the second of Nisan, where it's not Rosh Chodesh anymore. The Jewish calendar was inaugurated, and The Mishkan was inaugurated. Nadav and Avihu passed away. It's also Rabbi Nachman's birthday was last night and today.
Oh.
And starting from today during the day, you can start doing. There's a special blessing on the blooming trees. So remember to do that.
Do you know where we can do it?
There's
There has to be a fruit
fruit bearing tree. There's a list. There's places around Crown Heights.
Carol Street, they have a
There's
sign.
Crown.
Yeah, that's I was looking for.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Carol?
mention it.
Yes, they have it. Carol's in math.
Something there's a list, but I'm running through things. So just hold your questions for the end. Okay. Also, as Hannah pointed out, there's a custom to say what's called the Nasi of the day from the 1st of Nisan until the 13th. We read a little extra prayer about the 13 princes in the Beis Hamikdash. I don't know the whole story of that custom, but whatever. Beis Nisan, which is right now, which is actually the anniversary of the passing of the Rebbe Rashab, which is the 5th Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Yeah.
And he was they called him the Rambam of Chassidus. Is that correct?
Could be.
Maybe.
I think he's like the Arizo.
Something like that. So we can also, tonight's also a special for bringing in that honor. On the 5th of Nisan was the passing of Rav Avram Yeshua Heschel of Apta. He was called the Oyev Yisrael of Apta, the Apta Rav. So it's another type of Chassidus. On the 10th of Nisan was when Miriam Hanavia passed away. And on the 11th of Nisan is Hannah. What's you? I'll give you a hint. Yeah, the Rebbe's birthday. Very good. Also on the 11th of Nisan, there was a mass circumcision before we went into Eretz Yisrael. It was the passing of Nachmanides, Moshe ben Nachman. Also the passing of the Shalah, Rabbi Yeshaya Horowitz. His descendants don't eat turkey because they don't have a custom for eating turkey. So that's fun fact. Because in order to eat birds, you have to have a custom to do it. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but we eat chicken because there's some kind of long-standing custom.
It's very hard to listen to.
We also eat duck.
We also eat duck. Yeah, that's correct. And it's in 1902. It's the birthday of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And this day is marked in the United States as Education and Sharing Day. The Rebbe's birthday every year is marked as, from 1978 until today, it's marked as Education and Sharing Day. On the 13th of Nisan was Avram Avinu's bris. It was also the day of Haman's decree in the Purim story, and also the day of passing of Yosef Karo, who was the author of, anybody know? Sfas? There you go. Also, the Yud Gimel Nisan is the passing of the Tzemach Tzedek, which is the fourth, something like that. Third. And the 13th of Nisan is when we do, that's when we do B'dikas Chametz before Pesach.
The Rebbe is named after him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct. The 14th of Nisan, we're getting close to Pesach, is the birthday of the Rambam. Also, that's the day, it's Erev Pesach, so there's a ton of customs and halacha and whatever. One of them is the Tanas Bechoros, which is the fast of the firstborn. There's the deadline for eating chametz. You burn and nullify your chametz, and then you read. There was customarily done the Pesach offering, but we read a paragraph, and that substitutes for that. And that night is Leil HaSeder, the first night. On the 15th of Nisan, which is the first day of Pesach, was historically the Bris Bein Besarim, which was when Avram Avinu made the pact with God. He walked between the cows or something like that. Whatever. Calves? I don't know. Avram Avinu also battled before kings on the 15th of Nisan. The angels visited Avram Avinu on the 15th of Nisan. Yitzchak Avinu was born on the 15th of Nisan. Yaakov Avinu wrestles with the angel when he becomes Yisrael, remember? Moshe Rabbeinu is at the burning bush on the 15th of Nisan. All this is happening on the first day of Pesach, which shows you like the significance of it. And it was also obviously the day of Yetzias Mitzrayim when we got, Hashem took us out of Egypt. Queen Vashti was executed on the 15th of Nisan in the Purim story. Daniel was in the lion's den, that whole biblical story, that happened on the 15th of Nisan. Also, we begin the special prayer for dew on the 15th of Nisan on Pesach. And that night we begin counting Omer and then at the second Seder or before, whatever it is around that time. On the 16th of Nisan, the manna ended historically. Levi was born from the Shvatim, from the tribes. On the 17th of Nisan, Haman was hanged, like in the Purim story. The 18th of Nisan, Reb Levi Yitzchak Schneerson was born. The Rebbe's father's birthday is Chai Nisan, or 18th of Nisan. I guess it's not a big holiday in Chabad, but it's a significant date. The 18th of Nisan is also, what would it be, Chana? 8 days after Yud Nisan would be the Rebbe's
Bris.
Bris. Pop quiz. Sorry. You brought it up. That's why I pointed to you. And Rabbi Yosef Ber Soloveitchik passed away on the 18th of Nisan. He was a big Pesach and a big gadol. Yeah. On the 19th of Nisan was the passing of Rav Aaron of Karlin, which is a Hasidic dynasty. He was a Hasidic leader, and he wrote stuff. I guess I don't know.
He wrote stuff.
He wrote stuff and things. Yeah, cool stuff. Anyway, moving on. On the 24th of Nisan, the Red Sea split. And historically also, Moshe hit the rock. And that's the reason why he couldn't go into Israel. So that all happened on the 21st of Nisan. On the 22nd of Nisan was Yitzchak Avinu's bris.
A year later, I guess.
What?
That he hit the rock a year later.
A year later from what?
From the
Pesach?
leaving, from leaving.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Or wasn't it 40? No, it was less than that.
Not the same day. It was like
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're right. Yeah. No, it was like 30 years later.
Doesn't matter.
Something like that. Okay. On the 22nd of Nisan is Yitzchak Avinu's bris. And customarily in Chabad, we have a custom to, or I think other Hasidic people do it too, but we have what's called the Mashiach Suda. Anyone here ever been to Mashiach Suda?
Yeah.
They're like super fun. You bring matzah and wine, and you just like hang out to the end of Pesach, and it's like really exhilarating and really uplifting. On the 24th of Nisan, the first Shabbos ever was celebrated. Fun fact. On the 25th of Nisan is the passing of Rav Chaim Halberstam of Sanz, the Sanz Rebbe. Fun fact. On the 26th of Nisan was the passing of Joshua in the Bible. That's his day he passed away. On the 27th of Nisan, really cool, was the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising in 1943. So that's cool. On the 28th of Nisan in 1945, Buchenwald was liberated. And this is a Chabad holiday, Koch Nisan, the Rebbe's call. And on the 28th of Nisan in 1991, the Rebbe had a whole speech, telling the Hasidim, like, hello, basically like tut alt Wasser kat, like do everything that you can. The Rebbe said, the Rebbe said, how is it that the redemption has not yet been attained? The Rebbe cried. That despite all that has transpired and all that has been done, Mashiach has still not come. And the Rebbe's like crying when he's saying it. It's a very emotional, it's a very like earth-shattering talk that the Rebbe's giving. What more can I do? I've done all I can to bring the world to truly demand and clamor for the redemption. The only thing that remains for me to do is to give over the matter to you, to each one of us. Really, that's who the Rebbe is speaking to. Do all that is in your power to alt Wasser kann, to all that is in your power to achieve this thing, a most sublime and transcendent light that needs to be brought down into our world with pragmatic tools. I've done all I can. I give it over to you. Do all that you can to bring the righteous Redeemer immediately. I've done my part. From this point on, all is in your hands. So it was like a big day in Chabad where the Rebbe came out with these like very big statements, like kind of shook up all the Hasidim in that time, and we celebrated as a Chabad holiday, like, okay, we really got to push ourselves to bring Mashiach. So that's a big day. On the 30th of Nisan is the passing of Reb Chaim Vital, who was the student of the Arizal, right?
Chaim Vital, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving on. Next stop on our little journey, after all those little fun facts on the Jewish calendar, I'm going to go through a sacred Sirah, and here we go. Okay, so Nisan is considered the first month in the Jewish calendar. It says Chodesh Lechem Rosh Chadashim, or whatever. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's in Shemos. It says like Nisan is the first month. It begins the period of springtime. So we're now officially in the what's called the Tekufa, or the period of springtime. The 3 months Nisan, Iyar, and Sivan are the springtime months, and they correspond to Yehuda, Yisachar, and Zvulun, and they were to the east of the Mishkan. It's also known as Chodesh HaAviv, the month of springtime. There is a saying in the Gemara. It says, "In Nisan our forefathers were redeemed from Egypt, and in Nisan we will be redeemed." So in the same way, the same spiritual energy of redemption is like now. It's like springtime. It's like light and airy and more sunny. The days are longer. It's getting warmer. We're like going into
from the winter.
Yeah, we're going into like warmer, sunnier days. This is like redemption time. Nisan is a month of miracles. Nisim, it's related to where the Nisim, right? That's what you were saying, right, Naomi? Nisei Nisim. As the days of your exodus from Egypt, I shall reveal him wonders. So like same kind of concept that we'll see miracles in this month. The letter of the month is Hey. And that's the phonetic source for all 22 letters of the aleph base, meaning we have to breathe to speak. So hey is that breath. Okay. Let's skip that part. Okay, next. The mazel of the month is, do my Nissan birthdays know what the mazel of the month is? Do you know? Do you know? A lamb.
Okay.
Yeah. Ram, I think, is Taurus. I think that's ER. That's next month. Yeah, anyway, it's Aries, and it represents, how do you think it connects to Pesach, the lamb?
Well, the form of pizza.
There you go, correct, very good.
Also
Um,
the blood.
What?
Also the blood.
The blood on the doorpost, right. The first sacrifice of the Jewish people to God just before their redemption was the Karban Pesach. The Jews are also described as, the lamb surrounded by 70 wolves, the 70 nations. They're like we're like a little lemala, and there's the 70 nations. That's kind of how we're described. The tribe of the month is Yehuda. Yehuda is the king. He's the first of the tribes of Israel. That's the whole concept. It's the first month. It's leading. It's redemption. It's that's that whole kind of flavor. Nisan is also is also its own kind of Rosh Hashanah. There's 4 Rosh Hashanahs in the Jewish year. There's Rosh Hashanah in Tishrei, which is Rosh Hashanah for humans. Then there's Rosh Hashanah for trees, which is Tu B'Shvat. Very good. And Rosh Hashanah of kings is Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Kings, yeah. And then there's something else. Rosh Hashanah of Behemoths, I think, is Elul. Whatever. These are also like tied to like agricultural types of things. Okay. See if you guys can guess this. Okay, the sense of the month. Well, not really a sense in terms of the 5 senses. Okay, I don't know if you're gonna get it, but it's hard to explain. But the sense of the month is speech.
That
And
makes sense.
yes, Pesach. Why?
Well, there's my Hebrew is a little rusty, but there's 2 interpretations of Pesach.
Mm-hmm.
Pesach is I know one of the Peh is mouth, and
Right.
Sach is story, so you're telling a story.
Very good. Yeah. And one of the mitzvahs of Pesach is V'yigadah levincha, tell over to your children, right? So that's connected also like the sense of the month is speech and speaking, and it's also connected to leadership and telling the story of the Exodus. So the letter of the month is Hey, which is 5 in Gematria, and also Magid, the telling of the story of the Exodus, is the 5th stage. Magid also begins with how do we begin Magid? Hey, Lach Ma'anya, right? So it's all connected. The Hey, the letter of the month, the 5. Magid is the 5th. It starts with Hey, Lach Ma'anya. This is the poor man's bread. Yeah, and it's also connected, like speech, like freedom. Like when we're able to speak freely, there's a sense of freedom to that also, right? So that's connected to speech. The control of the month is the right foot. You lead with your right foot. There's always this concept of everything with our right, but when you walk, it's the concept is to lead with your right foot. You want to be a leader. You want to go out in the right way, literally the right way. But right in Kabbalistic thought is connected to chesed, which is kindness. Okay. And now I'm going to read this nice little article from Chabad.org. Okay. It is titled How to Be Free, the 2-Step Process Toward Personal and Collective Liberation. This is by Karen Wolfers Rappaport. So it's just like a nice little inspirational article. Okay. Here we go. The Jewish people were in Egypt for 210 years, enslaved for half that time. Their parents knew hardship, they knew hardship, their children knew hardship. It was both a personal and a collective narrative that was part of the fabric of their existence. The Jewish slaves had been constricted for so long that they were unable to conceive what it meant to be free, so they suffered in silence. They suffered in stillness. In the hush, they were mute.
Silence.
Yeah. Like the slaves, sometimes we may be suffering in quiet. Like the slaves, sometimes we may find ourselves in voiceless, powerless, invisible stories. Being a slave to an abusive relationship, work, desires, or even our own delusions is a painful place to be. Stripped of our rights and our autonomy, we can feel a real sense of bondage, even though we may not be building pyramids in Egypt. So, how did the Jews ultimately leave captivity? According to Rav Dov Ber Pinson, the feat of leaving Egypt involved 2 important steps. The first step the slaves took was to acknowledge their conditions and cry out. Imagine the slaves starting to question the situation. Maybe there's another way of being. Maybe there's another way to exist. Just the possibility of this was enough. They opened their hearts and out came hope. They opened their mouths and out came a cry. When we take that first primal step and recognize that our backdrop is not serving us, that there is something dehumanizing about our situation, that there has to be something more, only then can we begin to release, to breathe, to cry. We open up. The cry of the Jewish slaves pierced the atmosphere. It was a cry that was heard in the sanctum of the heavens. It was a cry that began a paradigm shift. The second step the Jews took toward freedom, after they acknowledged and after they cried out, was to embrace and visualize a new reality. What does embracing and visualizing a new reality look like? It looks like the moon. The moon waxes and wanes. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Even when we don't see it during its last phase, we understand that it still exists. We know that inevitably it will renew, regenerate, and glow. The moon reality is a godly reality. It is the world of endless possibilities, of imaginings and actualities that are beyond what we see in front of us. The first mitzvah the Jews in Egypt were asked to perform was to sanctify the new moon. Perhaps there was something about the qualities of the moon they needed to grasp. Maybe this was their key to unlocking years of servitude. Maybe this is a key to unlocking ours. Living in the moon reality means transcending current conditions and embracing new ones. For the slaves, visualizing being unshackled and all that came with that freedom was a vital step toward tapping into a new actuality. And then came God's outstretched arm, leading them somewhere the slaves had never been. And the Jews trusted that it existed even though they had never experienced it. Freedom. Could we use this model to free ourselves of our own entrapments? I think we can. We may not see future potential in situations, but if we acquaint ourselves with the moon reality, we can start to understand that embedded within nature is the possibility for the miraculous, unexpected, and inexplicable. An outstretched arm awaits us. Opportunities await us. Freedom awaits us. Redemption awaits us. But we have to make an effort. We have to summon the courage to acknowledge the unacceptable conditions and visualize a new reality. Ultimately, the slaves did leave Egypt. We too have that ability. Wishing everyone a powerful and redemptive Passover.
Amen.
So that's my part. Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? Please keep eating. That's like the. I also, if you guys are interested, I also put these cute little hachlata cards. I think I'm going to incorporate that every month, that we should leave here with something practical that we're doing to improve ourselves. So I used the design from the invite, and I wrote, it says my hachlata. So these are just ideas. You know, no one's forcing anybody to do anything, obviously, but these are just ideas that we should go away with tonight. Like, how am I going to practically improve myself? And Nissan is always, Nissan is the Rebbe's birthday. Nissan is Pesach. Nissan is redemption. Nissan is all about, there's a big light. It's a Rosh Hashanah, right? So Rosh Chodesh is also like a new light, a new energy for the month. The energy of this month, the sign of the month is a lamb, or well, whatever. It's a fire sign of this month. It's a leadership. So how are we going to encapsulate that energy? How are we going to take that home with us? So everyone can, please think about what you might want to do to capitalize on this new energy that we're experiencing right now. We're technically, 1 foot into the month. We're not, we're not in the middle of it. The middle of it is Pesach. But think of one thing that I can do, when I leave here tonight. It can be simple. I'm gonna, give a penny before candle lighting, whatever, or I'm gonna light Shabbos candles, or whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. Just as long as we're connecting, we're doing something better. So, please think about something that you want to do. If you'd like to share, please do. Obviously, no pressure. You can just think about it. It's totally, up to you. But these are just something I just want to incorporate in these Fabrengens, that we do something practical and help ourselves and really improve ourselves for the better, because that's really the point. Yeah, so that's just a fun idea. Anyway, so if you guys are ready, should we take a break or just keep going? Keep going?
It's late. I mean, we should keep going.
It's late. Okay, fine.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna. We'll also. It's late. Yeah. Okay, it's 9:20. So we also are going to decorate tambourines. We're going to decorate one tambourine that's going to go to Devorah, the Hanavia, when Mashiach comes. We're going to hold on to that and give that to her when it's ready. So what? Devorah Hanavia. When Mashiach comes, we're going to give her that. Not me. Not. No. Okay. So tonight the activity is that I'm doing it in conjunction with this organization called Tambourines of Unity, and they help you like arrange. They make for you like a whole kit with all art supplies and whatever, in order that we could create a tambourine to give to one of the imahos or one of the nevios or whatever when Mashiach comes. So what? Yeah, and there's also tambourines if there's 10 of them. So the first 10 people who want to decorate their own, because there should be enough supplies. What?
Is this one only to watch, or can we open this?
No, it's for you.
Amazing.
Oh, that?
Of course.
Mommy.
Chaim.
Oh,
Can I start,
You're
Dora?
back. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So that's just we're gonna do that later, but we're gonna hear some really inspiring words. This is my friend Nava Rivka. We know each other from seminary. We were Jerusalem buddies. Nava's a freaking genius. And then
Lower and
she's a friend. That's why.
I'm just a Virgo.
Hold on tight, guys. The Earth sign coming in. And that was an old dear friend of mine, and we were very close in seminary. We were chavrusas and Jerusalem buddies. We had a great time. And Nava has a lot of inspiration to share, and she's a wife and a mommy of 3 very sweet
Yummy.
little yummy
Don't raise your expectations.
And we're gonna hear some really inspirational words from Nava. So without further ado, my dear friend Nava.
Yeah, thank you. So what I have to share tonight is based on a shir of Rabbi Taub, and I actually mentioned this to him. I said, listen, I'm repackaging this shir, and I'm saying in my own words to this crowd. And I told him, he's like, isn't it? He loves it. It's based on a shir called Spiritual Spring Cleaning. You can check on Spotify. It's really an amazing shir, and I'm gonna give it over to you in a summarized way in my own words, but also have some insights from my own whatever. So basically, Dora asked me to say something related to Geula, like living a Geula life, which is something that, we all strive for, but what does it mean like in reality, like in my life, right? Geula. So I like to go to the etymology of the words, because that in Hebrew, like when we learn about the meaning of the words, we actually learn about the concept itself. So Geula is brought in many sources in Tanakh, always related to financial transactions.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 times the word Geula is brought in Tanakh, referring to redemption of a bond or land or debt, right? So it's the return of a property to its rightful owner. That's what it means, Geula, right? In most of the cases. So when Hashem says, I'll redeem you, what he's saying is, you're my property, but now, for the meantime, you're the property of someone else, the Mitzrim, and I will get you back to me because you belong to me, right? So, and it's interesting, the Ramban, he says in Parshas Vayigash that the whole Galus Mitzrayim is a consequence of a financial transaction, which is the sale of Yosef.
Really?
Yeah, and so every time also the word sell, the word machar is the verb to sell, right? When it talks about sale, it talks about oppression. It's the abandonment of Hashem. It's always in this context. So when it says in Devorah, Neviah, it says in Shoftim, it says in Kor Hashem Sisrael, like Hashem will deliver in Kor from Lashon Machar, from the same shoyesh of the word sell, Hashem will deliver Sisra in your hands. It means that
He will sell.
He will deliver him to you. It's always like in the context of oppression, of abandoning. Hashem is not going to protect Sisra anymore. He's going to deliver him into your hands, right? Because Imkor is referring to Sisra. So he's sold. Yosef was sold, which means he was, quote unquote, right? The presence of meaning there was going to be an oppression as a consequence of this sale, right? Okay, someone is coming.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry.
And it's funny because later on, it's the word Geula. We don't use it on a daily basis. For example, when it comes to Pidyon Aben, it's not Geula Taben, it's Pidyon Aben. But there's a difference between the two concepts, but I'm not going to get into that. Basically, this is just a fun fact. Keep it in the back of your mind. But from our own accord, through our own efforts, we would not be able to be redeemed from Mitzrayim. We needed Hashem to take us out. Right? It says, and then why is that? So we were experiencing powerlessness. And what does it mean, powerlessness? It means not only our efforts do not bring any results, but our efforts are counterproductive. The more we tried to escape Egypt many, many times. It didn't work. Not only didn't work, it brought us more trouble. We were sunk in the gullus even deeper once we tried. It's like quicksand. The metaphor he uses is quicksand. For you to get out of quicksand, you have to relax and wait for help. Because if you try to get out of it, of the schmutz, the word needed, the schmutz, you get even more and more and more stuck. So what does it mean on an individual level, and not on a collective level? What does that mean to be stuck and powerless in an individual level? So there's a few things. This is my own thing that I'm going to bring. I've been reading, I read that book called What Happened to You. I don't know if you know about it. It's like Oprah and a psychiatrist wrote the book together. But they bring like a lot of examples of the consequence of trauma in a person's brain, basically. We make associations. As soon as we're born, we're trying to make sense of the world. And when we cry, and because you're hungry, because we need attention or being held, we cry. And if we have the human touch, we associate human touch with soothing and comfort, and so on and so forth. So if we sense that the energy is, if for whatever reason your mother or whoever is holding you is tense or is bothered by something, you're gonna also associate that physical touch is not only soothing, but it comes with this bothersome energy. So it's very crazy to think that all these associations are happening, and sometimes we're not aware of it. And so as parents, our job is to create an environment where there will be the most positive associations possible for a child. Another book that I'm really enthusiastic of is Your Awesome Self by Stirna Ginsburg. Oh, yeah. And there she brings this example that I really love, and I try to apply it to my life. When an elephant, how do Indians train their elephants? How do they domesticate the elephants? How do they make sure the elephants still move or break things or kill people? Because when they're very little, when they're born, they attach the leg of the elephant to a tree with a small rope, and so the baby grows, and when the elephants are 4 years old, they take out the rope and the elephant doesn't move, because when they were very little, it associated that because he couldn't move when he was a baby, now that he's 4, he's big, he could technically move, but he doesn't move because he thinks he's still stuck. That's an association that he made when he was very little, and so the situation changed. He grew older, and he's strong enough to get himself out, but he doesn't because of this limiting belief, right? It's the same thing that happens to our limiting beliefs, and they usually start limiting beliefs or associations, right? They usually start in childhood, and so later on in life, we feel stuck or we react, we have a trigger. It mentions in the other book, like, for example, if a person is abused by a man with a red curly hair, let's say, and, you know, it gets buried in the lowest part of the brain, which is the animalistic brain, reptilian brain, as they call it. Then it gets buried there, and of course it doesn't come to the surface all the time because it's trying to protect you from the pain of that, reliving that experience. And so years later you encounter a man with the same characteristics and you have a panic attack and you don't know why, because it's, you know, and it's interesting. I'm not sure if this is in the same category of what I'm going to explain right now, but just interesting to keep in mind that these associations happen in a subconscious level, right? And our job is to bring it to the surface. But for example, when we're 7 years old, right, and we go to a new school, let's say, and it's a new environment, new people, and we want to be accepted, we want to be, you know, integrated in the community and in the kids community. And so one kid will be the clown, another kid will be, you know, he'll bribe kids with gifts and cards, another kid will, you know, just be isolated or escape and try to not be noticed. Another kid will go to the teacher's room and hang out with the teachers, just to, you know, to feel safe and protected. And so these characteristics that develop for whatever reason, and again, everybody will have a different adaptive behavior, right? Based on personality, early childhood associations, whatever it is, the reason is that we become like the clown, we become, you know, the person who makes smart comments, and that's how we survive, we adapt to the environment. But later on, these characteristics become who we are, right? It's part of who we are. It's our character traits. And when we decide, for whatever reason, that it doesn't serve us anymore, you know, it's like it's getting in the way of relationships. It's getting in the way of other things. Ray Thompson, what's the common denominator of any abusive relationship? You. You know, like, there's that. But I'm saying, like, sometimes it doesn't serve us anymore, but we can't stop it. It's like, if we are the clown, or, you know, I know someone, I'm not saying who is very cynical, and like everything you say is like, no, it didn't happen, because it's stressful for him to hear that, so he'll say it didn't happen, you know, or and that can get in the way of relationships, because you tell him, like, listen, you don't trust me, I'm saying the truth, like, it becomes about you, and then you have all these problems in the relationship, but you don't know where they're coming from, and they're coming from these behaviors that were there to protect you and to help you survive. And they did help you survive, but now they're getting in the way. So how do you get rid of them? The answer is you can't. You really can't. But Hashem can. And so this is the bottom line, is that when those things are you, and for you to free yourself from yourself, you have to stop being yourself. You have an identity crisis, because if, let's say, I have this reactive thing that when I feel under stress, I become a clown and I joke about everything, right? And then my husband thinks that I'm not taking him seriously, so I want to stop. Oh, it's okay.
Oh.
It's okay. It's fine. I'm almost
Still
done.
going.
It's fine. So like he tells it, stop doing that. Stop making jokes, or stop denying things. And I'm like, no, but this is me. I can't. You are asking me to not be me? That's what you want from me? Like, I can't stop being me, right? And that's the thing, is that it's really when you want to change those characteristics, what you got to do is you got to die. And it's the death of the ego. It's the death of who you think you are. It's very scary because it's a feeling of I'm losing myself from myself, and I don't know who I am, and I don't know who I will be. And that's when Emunah comes into place. And that's why Pesach is the matzah is the bread of Emunah. Because we have to have faith that we're losing ourselves and we're falling and we're dying, but it's something better. It's not a death, it's a rebirth.
It's a simple cracker.
It's kind of like Betul.
No, I'm saying that's what it is.
Having Betul.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you said,
Betul is actually, it's an experience of death.
Right.
But it's the death of the ego, as he says, edging God out.
But that's
Like the moon is just like I don't know how to explain it, but the top is like real trust.
Yeah. Bitachon, I'm not sure how to answer that, but the idea here is that I don't know what the difference of Emunah and Bitachon plays out in this specific context, but the main point is that we don't know what's ahead of us. We don't know who the new me is going to be, and that's very scary. Right? We don't want, it's like those things were meant to protect us, and they did protect us. So it's like we are scared of not being protected. So when we surrender to Hashem, we say, hey, I'm ready to surrender. You know, I know you're going to protect me. I don't need those things to protect me anymore. I want you to protect me. That's when change can happen. Because, you know, and then after we leave Mitzrayim, that's when we can do the self-refinement work. Because people think that self-refinement means, you know, like adjusting and maneuvering those qualities, the adaptive qualities that I just mentioned. Oh, so that means I'm just not going to apply in this context, but I'm going to do in that context. But if the motive is survival, if you're being the clown because you want to survive in the environment, if you are being people's pleaser because you want to survive, then you're still stuck. You're still in Golos. So real freedom is you surrender. You say, I'm a blank page now. I'm surrendering to Hashem. I don't know who I am anymore, and I'm okay with that. I'm giving up on my identity of who I think I was. And
that's why it's connected to matzah, because it's simple, it's flat.
It's flat.
It doesn't have any taste.
And then he takes us out, and
Gives you
because
indigestion.
you're trusting him that he's going to protect you, not trusting in your own adaptive mechanisms to protect yourself. You're trusting in him. And now what's going to be, doesn't mean that I'm going to give up on my animal soul, not leaving my animal soul in Egypt and only living with my godly soul. My animal soul is coming together with me out of Egypt. But the old animal soul is dead. It's dead. It's a death of the old animal soul. And then what's going to be next when it says there, mashcheni, draw me, pull me out, right? That's the first phase of Geula. It's just the godly soul. Boom. You're not bringing your animal soul. If you reclaim any aspect of your personality, of your animal soul, of your adaptive mechanisms, of your survival mechanisms, then you remain in Egypt. That's what 2/3 of the population, that's why they stayed. They were holding on to it. And so the second phase is we will run after you, right? Then the second phase is I'm active. And what does it mean? That's the Firas Omer. I get back my animal soul and I rebuild myself. But okay, so I look back and I say, hey, I'm really good at being a clown and making people happy. So I'm going to do that now intentionally to serve Hashem. Not because I need to survive, not because if I don't make people laugh, they're not going to like me. Or if I don't say a smart thing here, I'm not going to be accepted in this group. Or it's not about survival. It's about serving Hashem. All those qualities that I developed, associations, whatever it is throughout my childhood and life, I take everything and I repurpose it. And now it's L'Shem Shemaim, it's for Hashem. you know, and if I don't need to use it, I won't use it. Because it's not about survival. I'm fine. That's when the bitahon comes. It's like, I don't need to survive. I'm taken care of. I'm safe. And so that's why we have to do this exercise every day. We leave Mitzrayim every day because every day we need to remember that life is not about surviving, that it's about serving Hashem. So all my qualities are not really me. They're gifts, that they're tools that were given to me to serve Hashem, to serve a purpose. And that purpose can be making others happy or teaching a shir, whatever it is that I have, those qualities, those character traits, they have to be repurposed. And L'chaim, was it understood? Hope that was clear. Yeah.
That was like the condensed version of this year.
That was the condensed version. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. But he had a lot of jokes and everything. If you want to learn in depth, listen to this show. It's yeah. He's amazing. Was it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers, somebody.
Yeah.
Fire.
You know,
That's Geula. Oh, and that's why, like, in the financial context makes total sense because if you're redeeming a land, the land cannot redeem itself. The bond cannot redeem itself. You need the two people in the middle, right? The oppressor and
I
Hashem.
don't know how you say bottles. There's no bottles downstairs.
Yeah.
It also made me think of when people are depressed, it's like they're not,
Yeah, I think so.
their animal soul is like out. You know what I mean? Like they're not able to do things. But it's almost like it's like in our culture it's like a negative thing. In other cultures it's actually a positive thing. Depression is like a loss of the identity, but it's a rebirth of something greater. Like
Right.
and so I was just connecting to that. Like
He says in this year, I did mention that that you just gotta pray that the pain is deep enough, and that you're like stuck in a very low place, just like we were in Mitzrayim, because that will impulse propulse us for change. Because you know the worst thing that can happen is you have a pain that's just minimally
it's okay. You can handle
manageable.
it.
Yeah, I can handle it, and you keep living like this forever. But if you have a pain that's deep enough that you're at rock bottom, that's when you can go to have a rebirth. That's why we were at the lowest level of Tuma. It's only in that place that rebirth can happen. That's what we have to happen for. That's like
when the baby has descended, that's when birth can happen. Right?
yeah.
I've always been interested in the paradigm of like destruction as a form of creation.
Mm-hmm. Always.
But I've never thought of it in terms of like survival, like instead of serving Hashem.
Survival.
I feel like that is what I thought was
Survival feels like more like of an ego state, right?
right.
Survival is actually not even bad. Like for you to be a clown, it's not something bad per se.
But it's like you learn
it's-
from when you're little, and you literally don't have other tools and they're coping mechanisms. But we're adults now. And we-
They-
Are we? I don't know.
The animals we're
Let's
adulting,
clarify.
we're adulting. It's just the animal soul is not good or bad. It's just it tries to protect you, and like your brain. It's like a child. Let's say a child sees a dog, right, and it has a strong reaction for whatever reason, and then runs to the street where there's a lot of cars.
Right.
It's like the animal soul is trying to protect the child from the dog, but it's sometimes causing a worse problem. It's short-sighted because it's an animal. It doesn't know better. And so the tricky thing is that sometimes associations get so deep down, buried in your subconscious, and it doesn't reach your cortex. So like you react to a dog or to something or a collar or something or a person's look or whatever, and it creates anxiety. You don't even know why. Because it doesn't reach sometimes the higher levels of the brain, which is the cortex, which is like the rational brain, I'm using my cortex now to talk to you.
Think because
'cause-
there's a block or just in general?
What?
Because there's a block, like
Yeah, and that's
it's
like,
not rational.
there's a filter, so you're always scanning the environment, always seeing potential threats, always. Like that's how your body is. That's why they say in the book also that the change from a rural lifestyle to a urban lifestyle was damaging because there's much less things to monitor in the fields or in the nature.
Which
And
book opens the book?
what?
Which book opens the book?
What happened to you?
Oh,
Very interesting book.
this is the open one? Oh.
Yeah.
It's also interesting with social media, everything is so identity based. It's like, who are you? What are you? What's like one sentence that you can sell yourself? And it's like this constant, and even if like, I'm not even on social media, but just being in this culture, there's that pressure
Culture, yeah.
of having that. And like,
What are you
in
about?
order to talk
But then there's
about,
stepping
Who are you? What do you do?
Who are you? And
Oh,
it's
right.
a very Geula theme. You were talking about identity now. Like,
And then there's like stepping back also and just like being strong enough to own your own identity, like who am I, no matter what. Like the norm is like social media, like I know who I am and just
I had to change
yeah,
that.
no, it's right. Like
if you
this.
want to go through an identity transformation, like what you were like, I thought it was interesting how you're not that you want to go through identity transformation, but to just surrender and be like, I don't know what my identity is, and that's okay. It's like a blank.
No, we do know our identity is our godly soul.
Right.
But
We're meant to identify that.
yeah,
With
no, it is. But the animal soul, because of we're so wired to survive. The animal soul is so wired to just live by that. Especially as a child, like a child doesn't have the godly soul yet fully inserted, and so we get into this behaviors and patterns of behavior, and then we receive our godly soul, and then that godly soul feels like the non-identity, right?
It's like a
The
quiet
thing that's
voice.
not me,
Right.
and this is me, but my godly self is not me. But this is me. Oh yeah, I use it sometimes. I'm religious, so I go to show and this and that. I'm acting a little bit more on the godly me, but the real me is like the practical or whatever, or like these characteristics that I'm telling you about. But it's not true. Like the real me is that godly self who is completely bottled to Hashem. All he wants is to serve Hashem. All he wants is to be one with Hashem. And the animal soul tries to hold on to you and not let go because it's, again, scared of dying because it actually dies in the process of redemption.
Because the first 12 years of our life, we identify as an animal soul, and it's hard to let go of that, I think, right?
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
I mean, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. From it's hard to let go of that, correct?
Mhm.
But it's like those qualities and everything that happened to you in your childhood was meant to be. It's part of your mission.
Right. That's
And
great.
you develop those adaptive behaviors or qualities or characteristics, and they are meant for a purpose.
Mhm.
And the purpose is serving Hashem, but it's not surviving.
Right.
It's not
We're meant to
surviving.
elevate the animal soul. We're given the godly soul because I don't want to say it has more light in it. I mean, whatever. But the godly soul is meant to, like, the godly soul, yeah.
It needs the animal soul for its purpose, but it has to be the animal soul has to
Has to
be
serve the godly
directed.
soul, right.
Yeah. So I hope that was clear. Was it clear?
Yeah. Good.
Yay.
You guys like her? You keep her?
Celebrating.
Celebrating how many years of.
Happy birthday.
Anyway, thank you, Navarra.
This exercise. It's a daily exercise of why am I doing this? Why do I need this? Do I need this? Do I
Why
not
not?
need it?
Your why is from your why is to be.
Your why, your purpose.
Very nice. Thank you. Todarva.
Living Mitzrayim every day.
Yeah.
And that's when we get the energy. It's Pesach. We get the koyach to do this every day throughout the year.
Wow. So let's tap into that coming up soon. Okay, and the third part of tonight's crazy program is we are decorating tambourines. So please stick around.
Amazing.
We need to go.
Once in a lifetime, yeah. This cake, wow.
Yeah.
Chibi Ogazo, wow, wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
I know.
Okay.
You live in Crown Heights?
I live on Eastern Parkway.